Hi, my name is Karen Crosby, and I am the Program Development Consultant for the Welcome English AmeriCorps program. This call is to go over the host site application for the 2022-2023 year. We will be going through the application and how to complete that so that you can begin to participate in this amazing program. Before we dive into the application, I wanted to go through a couple of information items. We will be actually having an information session for the program that goes deeper into the details on Wednesday, April 20th at 3 o'clock. So you're invited to attend with us for that session. To register, you go to our website at welcomeenglishia.org and just indicate that you want to attend that session and you will get all the details from there. If it's after the session, you can find this recording online if you want to listen again. So yeah, we welcome you to learn more about the program. If you have gone through some of this already and you still have some questions and are unsure if you want to participate or exactly how the program will work at your organization, we also invite you to request a one-on-one meeting with our host site development consultant, and her name is Karen Kelly, and she will give you a call and you can work through issues specific to your organization. To get on her calendar, go to our website and click calendar and you should be entered right into her calendar for meetings. So, okay, well, let's dive into the application. The beginning of the application begins with instructions and it provides some details about the program, and you are welcome to read those at a later time. Pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, we will go ahead and just dive into the application since I think that's where we want to focus today. First, I want to tell you that Elise Pate is our program director for Welcome English AmeriCorps. And if you have any questions about anything, at any point, you can email her at her email address at the Iowa International Center, or give her a call at the office and they will connect you to her. Otherwise, if you want to get into the real deep weeds of this program, you are welcome to take a look at our host site manual that is on our website as well, and that provides a very lengthy description of all of the program components as well as rules and policies, items of that nature. So. Okay, let's dive into the application. Our first section is contact information, self-explanatory. To fill out this application and provide the information, you will need to download this file because it's currently stored as a Google Doc. So download the file to your own computer, save it on your system, and then at the end, you'll be emailing this application to Elise when you're completed. So. Provide the contact information about who the primary contact is at your organization. In the second step, there is a section where it goes through a lot of the specifics of the program and what you are going to be asked to do agree to as a host site applicant. So, for example, you have to agree to be able to provide a computer to an AmeriCorps member who might be serving with you. You have to agree to secure information, different things of that nature. So I won't read all of these for you, but if you agree to the item, then you just either check yes or erase that box and put a Y in there, and we know that you've agreed to those provisions. So you can go through those, and they are those provisions aren't meant to be complicated or trip you up or anything like that. It's just they really to help us create the best program possible for 2022-2023, and so that you could have successful outcomes and your members can and your learners too. So The third section is our narrative section. And again, this is not meant to be complicated. This section is just for us to learn more about your program. And depending on how you answer those, it's not really going to greatly impact your participation. We just want to figure out where you are and what you're currently doing. So share your good work with us. We'll go through each question a little bit. Know that we're not looking for long answers to these, maybe like a couple sentences to maybe up to maybe a couple paragraphs, but don't be too concerned about length. And also, some of these questions are phrased in a way that they're for existing programs, but no, if you don't have a program or if you're on hiatus from COVID and you're wanting to restart, we know that you won't have answers to these, and that is perfectly fine. Just explain that in your narrative. So the first question then is, what is your experience providing adult ELL in the community? And so we are just interested in knowing more. If you have a program manual or any written documentation, you can share that with us as well. But please do indicate the approximate number of learners that you serve, your geographical service area, like where are your learners coming from, and then if you have any paid staff that are dedicated to your ELL program, we would like to know about that as well. Okay, secondly, we would like to know if you're currently tracking student attendance and learning outcomes. So as part of this program, that is going to be required by AmeriCorps. But if you're already doing that, we'd sure like to know that information up front. And if you have any data you want to share, that would be awesome for us to take a look at as well, so we can set targets for the program going forward. Okay. The third question is, what steps do you take to reduce learning barriers for your students? And we ask that question just because we understand that, transportation and childcare especially are barriers to students completing classes. So we're interested in knowing if you're currently doing anything to try to mitigate those barriers. The fourth question, describe how you use volunteers in your adult ELL program. So as part of AmeriCorps, members are required to work with volunteers. So that could be managing them directly or performing more of an administrative role. We just want to know how that works at your organization currently. How many volunteers do you have, kind of who they are. If you don't have a volunteer program, that is okay. Just know that that is something that we'll be working with you to include or incorporate into your program. Volunteers is program assistants or classroom assistants or even teachers. We'll be working with you to help them make valuable contributions to your program. Fifth, we are looking to know if you have any formal volunteer management practices and policies in place, and that can include like registration. We'd like to know if you do orientation for volunteers, do you track their time, do any additional training. Just be happy to review what you're currently doing. And then six, we would like to know if you require background checks for staff and volunteers. As a part of a Welcome English AmeriCorps, volunteers won't be required to be background checked, but we just like to know. And then staff will be required if they are managing the AmeriCorps member. So whoever your designated site supervisor is, that person should just be aware that they will be doing a background check as well. But yeah, just describe what you're doing as far as background checks. Okay. Number 7, how do you envision Welcome English AmeriCorps working at your organization? So we're just kind of curious, like now that you know a little bit about the program, how do you foresee it fitting in with what you currently do? And just kind of what your vision is. Also in this section, be sure to mention if you've had national service members in the past. So if you've had a VISTA or NCCC, you know, what did those members do and what was your experience with that? So just detail that a little bit. Number 8 is the section on prohibited activities. And so our grant is funded by the federal government. And so our money has some stipulations about what activities we can do with it. So members are not allowed to do certain things, quite a list of certain things actually, such as they cannot engage in union or labor organization. They can't lead religious services or prayers of any kind. They can't go out and get people to register to vote or try to encourage the people to vote in any certain way. So if your organization does those things, that is great, but we just need to know that, or we need to discuss how the member won't be engaging in those activities during service hours and how we can ensure that, you know, that doesn't happen. It's very closely monitored by the federal government, so it's something that we will be overseeing and checking regularly. And you'll learn all about that once you become a host site and attend our orientation in the summer. Okay, number 9, we're going to be requiring host sites to play a role in recruiting of applicants from the community that they serve. So we'll be, you know, going out trying to enroll members to your position. We'll play a very strong role in that, but also wanting to partner with you on that. For example, if you have ideas of past students who would make wonderful members, we want to know how, if you envision that, how would you work to encourage other people that you know who come from their target communities to apply and start contributing to this wonderful AmeriCorps program. So number 10, we need to know the name, staff role, and qualifications of the person who will be designated as the member's primary supervisor. And the reason behind that is AmeriCorps has 3 purposes, really. The one, they're trying to help your clients and your learners, you know, learn English. 2, they're trying to help your organization build capacity. But 3rd, they are very strong on membership development. So anyone who served is going to go through a lot of training, not only in language acquisition and teaching, but other topics, because these members are only going to be with us a year or potentially a little bit longer. What are they going to do after that? For example, a lot of our members will be students who are thinking about going to college, or maybe in college, but thinking about what career path to take. You're going to be playing, the supervisor is going to be playing a role in helping that person set goals and work towards those goals. Or other members are career changers, and so you will be asked to help that person think about their career and, you know, help them network in the community and gain contacts. So yeah, we're looking for site supervisors or host site supervisors who want to play that role with our members and help them grow. And 11, our last narrative question, has to do with your work, if you have any work with the ISU Extension Office. So as part of our program, we have been working with ISU Extension to talk about, to develop this program, but to also talk about wraparound services. For instance, we're thinking about including extension programming for kids to take as their parents are enrolled in ESL classes. So yeah, we're in other types of possibilities that we might be looking into. So we just want to know, are you already doing something like that? And if you are, just describe your work together. And that is all our narrative section. Okay, so after the narrative, we move into like the fun part of like thinking about what members you might want at your organization. We have 3 different types of positions available here on the left. The first two are for community-based organizations. So that could be eligibility as a school, a government, any nonprofit or faith-based organization. So you would all qualify for what the first or second type of position. We have full-time members, and if you go to the information session or watch it later, that will go into great detail about what those are, but briefly, full-time members work 40 hours a week for 11 months and have to work serve a total of 1,700 hours. So that's full-time, and then half-time is similar. They work or serve 20 hours a week over 11 months, and they have to reach a total of 900 hours. So you are welcome to request any number of configurations that you want. You can take as many or ask for as many members as you want as well. On the right, just indicate where this member would be serving as far as their city or town. For example, if you're in a large nonprofit, you might have multiple sites across the state. We want to know which sites, which areas the person will be serving. And then our last type of slot is a minimum time virtual instructor. And these are reserved for higher education institutions. And our virtual instructions are going to be members who are teachers in training at colleges. They'll be serving a total of, I believe, 300 hours during the academic year. And all of these have time off for, they have a little bit of wiggle room so that there'll be time off for PTO, vacation sick, or spring break. So let us know if you're a college or university, how many members you would like, and then where you are. Okay. As you are thinking through the types of members that will help you, the next section is about the activities those members can perform. So the in-person member slots, full and half time, is this first chart. And on the right are the required duties for those positions. So they'll be performing some administration tasks and some instructional tasks for sure, because we have agreed to report on those as part of our performance outcomes. But we also have some flexibility in the program. So on the left are some optional activities that you can just check or highlight when you fill this out in your Google Doc, the things that you would want your member to work on. And volunteer management, these are again optional, but do know that all members have to work with volunteers in some capacity. So these are just some more specific things that we can help you out with. So let us know what things on the left you would like them to do. And then if you are a higher ed institution, these are the ones that on the right, that required duties of those types of members. They'll all be pretty much instructional or revolving around instruction. And then if you have other duties you may want them to perform, we haven't set any at this time for the program, but you might have some in mind. Share those with us and we will take a look at those as we evaluate your application. And then we'll move on to section 7. Section 7 has to do with the funding source. So as part of AmeriCorps, there is a cash match that is required of anyone who is asking for members. And that is for a full-time member of $6,000 and then prorated for minimum time and half-time members. And we will need to know where that money is coming from. 2 things to note about that is the Welcome English AmeriCorps staff has applied for ARPA funding from the federal government that may allow us to lower the cash match. So yeah, if that's a concern, know that $6,000 is not set in stone. We won't know for sure until we find out our funding, which we'll know around mid-May, and we'll have a solid idea of what your cash match could be. And the second point about this section is a cash match can come from a lot of different sources. It could be a community grant, it could be from fundraising, it could be a donation of some type that you have a donor who wants to contribute to the match. Just know that there are some rules around federal funding used as cash match. So if you have money coming in through a federal source, that it doesn't necessarily mean it can't be used, but we do have to seek approval for that. And then secondly, if you yourself have received ARPA funding through your organization, at this time we think that will be allowed, even though it's federal funding, but again, we will have to verify that, but it's much more likely to get approved. So that is the information about funding. And then this is the last section that's very important. This is about financial support. So, you know, if the cash match requirement is a barrier to you and your organization for participation, we want to be able to help with that. So we are just asking, as part of your application, that you let us know if you can't afford it or can't find the funds for it, don't have it available, what amount can you contribute, do you think? And then briefly explain why you're unable to pay the whole match. That could be something as simple as our organization doesn't have the funds, or something like, oh, we have a big organization that has a healthy budget, but my department, which is going to be sponsoring the AmeriCorps program, doesn't have that big a budget. So let us know what the situation or the barriers are for you, and we will consider that as we look at mitigating some of that match for you. Okay. Then lastly, we just need someone to sign the application. And again, we are just, since you're downloading all this and completing it in a Word or a Google Doc, just type it in. No need to print it and sign it, physically sign it, just type your name and date in there, and then save it as a Google Doc or a Word file or PDF, and mail your completed form to Elise Pate. Again, here is her email address at the Iowa International Center. So yes, so that's the application. Some other information for you. Let's see, our due dates for applications. We were looking at trying to receive applications as soon as possible. We have set May 1st as the due date for our first round consideration. So that doesn't mean that if you can't make that date, you can't participate, because we're just trying to get applications in the door so we can get you set up and get you ready to start recruiting over the summer for members and get your contract signed, your host site agreement signed with us in time for members to start in the fall for you, around the time your ESL program or your ELL program begins. If you aren't able to make May 1, we are going to continue to receive and accept applications until all the slots and all the host sites are filled. So please don't let that deter you from applying. Let's see, resources, again, check our website, welcomeenglishiaa.org, for a lot of resources. And don't hesitate to reach out to Karen Kelly to set up a one-on-one to talk about, you know, specific issues at your organization that you may want to work through. Again, you can get on her calendar through our website. So yeah, we're excited to bring this program to Iowa. We're really looking forward to getting your application, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this information. And yeah, thanks, and we look forward to working with you soon.